Officials are responding to ongoing issues at the Colony Apartments in Columbia.
Residents there were left without heat or power for several days over that Christmas holiday when we had such cold weather around the capital city and really around the state. Last night, city leaders, along with Columbia's police chief and fire chief, determined that all of the units there are unsafe, and they evacuated the people who lived there. Our Nick Novell joins us live now with more on why there will now, Nick, be an even longer delay on people being able to move back in.
Yes, that's right, Judy, Dondi. So the hope was that most people would be able to return to their apartments by tomorrow. But with that gas leak that just happened in the last hour, the Columbia-Richland Fire Department says that now is unlikely. Columbia Mayor Daniel Rickenmann tells me that even after all of these issues are resolved, conversations with the ownership group will continue.
This has been decades of issues in that complex, and we've got to change it. We're no longer going to allow this to continue to operate the way it is.
Persistent issues at the Colony Apartments in Columbia coming to a head last night when all tenants were forced to evacuate after living without adequate water pressure or heat for days.
We want to make sure that we preserve lives. And I would say this also, I think this should be a message to all of the landlords out there that this kind of stuff is not going to be tolerated.
After notifying the complex's management company, the Monroe Group, on December 9th of a water leak, nothing was done to fix the problem. Last night, the city hired a contractor to do that work.
We're going to bill back the property owner for that work because they own the system.
Throughout the day today, Columbia Code Enforcement, along with the Columbia-Richland Fire Department, inspected each unit for any potential violations or quality of life issues.
It's very disruptive, and we are very sensitive to that, and we want to get people back, where they're comfortable, but we got to make sure that it's safe. If we enter a unit and we find that it's what we call a health, life safety issue, and it's not inhabitable, then we would not allow somebody to return to that.
I asked Columbia Mayor Daniel Rickenmann what steps could be taken to ensure residents don't have to deal with anything like this in the future.
We're going to explore all options that we are to make sure that we don't ever see a situation like this again. I don't know what that all means. I mean, obviously we got code violations that need to be addressed. We're going to look at legal options on what we can do to make sure that the apartment complex is held accountable.
Rickenmann stopped short of saying that he believes that Colony Apartments needs to be shut down. I requested the exact number of code violations Columbia Police has observed at Colony Apartments over the last 2 years. That information was not immediately available today. I also reached out to the Monroe Group today for comment, but did not hear back. Live in the studio, Nick Novell, WIS News 10.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. Obviously a story we will continue to follow, but we can share some additional insight from Columbia Police Chief Skip Holbrook. He tells us that the majority of the enforcement issues at Colony Apartments have to do with things like trash overflowing, rodents, and ownership not maintaining those grounds.